The last time I spoke to my daughter, she told me she was going to leave him. She said, "Mom, I promise. This time I mean it." And I believed her. I had no reason not to. She had said it before, yes, but this time her voice was different. This time, she sounded ready. And 2 days later, she was gone. Those words were spoken by Patricia Owens in open court at the sentencing hearing of Marcus Durrell Webb, the man who took her daughter from her. Patricia stood at that podium for nearly 4 minutes. She did not cry. She did not raise her voice. She just told the truth, slowly, word by word, looking directly at the man who made those words necessary. From the outside, Marcus and Amber Webb looked like a couple who had figured it out. Married 6 years, a house on Clover Street in Columbus, Ohio. 2 kids, ages 4 and 7. Neighbors described them as quiet, private, normal. But keep this in mind as we go. Normal, from the outside, is the oldest lie domestic violence has ever told. She told that judge she never saw it coming. So what exactly does that mean when the hospital records say otherwise? Her name was Amber Christine Webb, born Amber Christine Owens. Everyone who loved her called her Amby. She was 29 years old, born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. Her birthday was March 14th, just 3 weeks before everything in this story ended. She stood 5 feet 4 inches tall. She had 2 children, a son named Derek, who was 7, and a daughter named Layla, who was 4. She was studying for her nursing license at Columbus State Community College. She was 1 semester away from finishing. Her mother, Patricia Owens, spoke about her at sentencing. Here's what she said. Amber was the kind of person who remembered everything about everyone. She remembered your birthday, your kid's birthday, your dog's birthday. She would text you in the morning just to say she was thinking about you, not because she wanted something, just because that was who she was. She used to sing in the car, loudly, wrong words and all, and she would laugh at herself the whole time. That laugh, I keep hearing that laugh. I don't know when I'm going to stop hearing it, and I don't know if I want to. She was 1 semester away from becoming a nurse. She wanted to work in pediatrics. She wanted to take care of children for a living because taking care of people was the thing she did better than anything else. Before we go further, please like, comment, and subscribe to The Crime Files if these stories matter to you. Your support helps us keep telling them. And if this is your first time here, welcome. These are real stories, real families, real consequences. Let's keep going. Marcus Durrell Webb was 33 years old. He and Amber had met at a mutual friend's birthday party in 2017 and were married within 18 months. By the accounts of those who knew them early on, the relationship started warm. Family gatherings, weekend trips, photos that looked happy. But Marcus had a history. A 2019 misdemeanor domestic violence charge, pleaded down to disorderly conduct. A 2021 incident where Amber called her sister from a gas station bathroom because she was afraid to go home. Her sister, Rochelle Owens, spoke at sentencing. She called me crying. She said, "Rochelle, I don't know what to do." And I told her to come to my house. She said she couldn't. She said the kids were at home. She always went back because of those kids. She thought staying kept them safe. She didn't know that leaving was the only thing that could have. Marcus had never been convicted of anything more serious than a speeding ticket at the time of Amber's death. That changed on the night of April 4th, 2023. Amber was last seen alive by her neighbor Gloria Tran at approximately 7:15 p.m. on April 4th. Gloria watched her carry groceries from her car into the house. She waved. Amber waved back. That was the last time anyone outside that house saw her alive. By 10 p.m., Marcus Webb had called 911. He told the dispatcher that he had come home to find Amber unresponsive at the bottom of the staircase. He said he thought she had fallen. He said he did not know how long she had been there. Emergency responders arrived at 10:11 p.m. Amber Webb was pronounced dead at the scene. The medical examiner's initial report noted injuries inconsistent with a fall. There were defensive wounds on Amber's forearms. There was bruising along her collarbone and neck that suggested manual compression. There were older injuries, partially healed bruising on her ribs that had not been there from any fall that night. Detective Simone Garrett of the Columbus Police Department's Domestic Violence Unit was assigned to the case. She had 22 years in law enforcement, 14 of them working exclusively in domestic violence homicide. She had seen a staged scene before. She knew what one looked like. She later told the court what she found inside that house. Detective Garrett addressed the judge directly at sentencing. This is what she said. Your Honor, in my 22 years of law enforcement, I have attended hundreds of sentencing hearings. I have never once felt compelled to stand here and speak. This is the first time. I responded to 4417 Clover Street on the night of April 4th, 2023. What I found inside that house was not consistent with an accidental fall. What I found inside that house told the story that Amber Webb had been trying to tell for years, the story no one was there to hear in time. There were signs of a physical struggle in the kitchen that had been partially cleaned. There was a broken picture frame that had been placed back on the wall. Not hung, just placed as if someone had set it there in a hurry. There were 2 children asleep upstairs who had no idea what had happened to their mother 2 floors below them. I want to say something to this court about the nature of domestic violence homicides, because I think it matters here. The question I am asked most often in these investigations is, why didn't she just leave? And I want to answer that question plainly. Because leaving is the most dangerous moment. Because, statistically, a victim of intimate partner violence is at the highest risk of being killed in the period immediately after she attempts to leave. Amber Webb knew that. On some level, every victim knows that. The danger is not abstract to them. It is the reason they stay, and it is the reason some of them do not survive. Marcus Webb did not snap. He did not lose control. The evidence of cleanup, the deliberate staging of the scene, the 911 call carefully designed to frame this as an accident. That is not a man who lost control. That is a man who made a series of calculated decisions before, during, and after he killed his wife. I have spent 14 years working domestic violence homicides, Your Honor. I can say without hesitation that Marcus Webb is among the most dangerous individuals I have encountered in those 14 years. Not because he is loud or volatile, but because he is calm, controlled, convincing. That is what makes him dangerous. That is what kept Amber in that house. And that is what I am asking this court to remember when it decides how many years he will spend away from society. Amber's mother, Patricia, then addressed the court. I keep thinking about the last phone call. She said she was going to leave. I should have gotten in my car that night. I should have driven to that house and put her and those babies in my car and driven away and never looked back. I didn't. I trusted that tomorrow was going to come. For her, tomorrow didn't come. Marcus, I want you to hear me. You took a mother from her children. You took a daughter from me. You took a sister, a friend, a student, a future nurse. You took a woman who remembered everybody's birthday and sang with the wrong words and laughed at herself. You took all of that and you put it at the bottom of a staircase, and you called 911 and you pretended. I hope every day of every year you spend in that cell you hear her laugh. The way I do. Amber's sister Rochelle spoke last among the family. Derek asked me last week where his mom went. He's 7. I didn't know what to say. I told him she went somewhere safe. He said, "Was it because of Dad?" 7 years old, Your Honor. 7 years old, and he already knew. Children always know. They just don't have the words for it yet. When investigators went through Marcus Webb's phone records from the night of April 4th, they found something. Between 8:47 p.m. and 9:12 p.m., more than an hour before he called 911, Marcus had conducted a series of internet searches. The searches read, "How long does it take to die from blunt force trauma to the head? Can you survive a fall downstairs? How to tell if someone is dead or unconscious? What does a 911 call record?" Those searches were presented to the judge at sentencing. When the prosecutor asked Marcus directly why he waited over an hour to call for help, his attorney objected. The judge overruled it. Marcus said he panicked. He said he was in shock. He said he did everything he could. His phone said otherwise. The medical examiner's final ruling was homicide, cause of death, blunt force trauma to the posterior skull, consistent with the victim's head being forcibly struck against a hard surface. The staircase railing post showed microscopic transfer of Amber's hair and scalp tissue. The angle of impact was inconsistent with a fall. It was consistent with someone being held and driven downward. The older rib bruising, the partially healed injuries, was dated between 10 and 21 days before her death. Amber had not been to a hospital in that period. She had not filed a police report. She had, however, visited her campus health center 4 days before her death. The nurse practitioner on duty noted bruising along her left side and asked her directly what had happened. Amber said she had bumped into a door frame. The nurse documented it. She also handed Amber a domestic violence resource card. That card was later found in Amber's nursing textbook, tucked between the pages of a chapter on trauma assessment. She had been studying how to recognize signs of abuse in her patients while living with those same signs herself. Marcus Webb was arrested on April 9, 2023, 5 days after Amber's death. He was charged with murder in the first degree. As part of a plea agreement, the charge was amended from first-degree murder to murder in the second degree. The sentencing range under the agreement was 15 to life. On the day his plea was entered, Marcus sent a text message to his brother that read, "It was an accident. They can't prove otherwise. Just stay quiet." The message was recovered from his brother's phone after investigators obtained a warrant. The brother had not deleted it. The prosecutor presented it to the judge at sentencing as evidence of Marcus Webb's state of mind. Not a man in grief, not a man taking responsibility, but a man running a strategy. His defense attorney argued the message was taken out of context, that Marcus was scared, processing, reaching out to family in a moment of panic. The judge acknowledged the argument and moved on. Marcus Webb's defense attorney, Jonathan Reese, addressed the court before sentencing. "Your Honor, no one in this courtroom is going to stand here and minimize what happened on April 4th. A woman died, a mother died, 2 children lost their mother. That reality is not in dispute, and our deepest sympathies remain with the Owens family. What I am asking this court to consider is the full picture of who Marcus Webb is, outside of the worst night of his life. He is a man who coached Little League, a man who showed up for his community, a man who, by every account from the people who raised him, was not supposed to end up here. The prosecution has painted a portrait of a calculated, cold individual. I would ask the court to consider that grief, fear, and panic are powerful forces that cause people to make decisions they would never otherwise make. The phone searches, they are damning on their face, I understand that. But a frightened man reaches for answers in the place he always reaches for answers. That does not make him a predator. That makes him human. Marcus has expressed remorse. He has accepted responsibility through this plea. I ask the court to honor that step and sentence him accordingly. Marcus Webb addressed the court himself. I want to say to Patricia, to Rochelle, to the kids, I am sorry. I am truly, deeply sorry for the pain that has come to your family. Amber she was a good person. She was a good mother. And I let things get out of control, and I can't take that back. I wish I could. Not a day goes by that I don't think about her. I know what I did was wrong. I'm not going to stand here and pretend otherwise. I just want her family to know that I loved her. I did love her. Things went wrong, and I can't undo that. The judge then asked him directly, "You've told the court you loved her. Can you explain the phone searches, the ones conducted while she was lying at the bottom of that staircase?" Yes, Marcus said he didn't remember doing them. Said he must have been in shock. The judge asked how long Amber lay there before he called 911. Marcus said he wasn't sure. He said time felt strange that night. The judge asked about the old bruising on her ribs. Marcus said he didn't know anything about that. The judge looked at him for a long moment. Then he said, "Mr. Webb, the evidence in this case describes a pattern, not an incident. I want you to understand that distinction. This court understands it." Marcus Durrell Webb was sentenced on 1 count of murder in the 2nd degree. The judge sentenced him to 18 years to life, 3 years above the minimum in the agreed range. He is not eligible for parole consideration until he has served the full 18-year minimum. At that point, the parole board will assess his conduct during incarceration, his demonstrated understanding of the harm caused, and his risk to public safety before any release is considered. He received credit for 214 days already served in pretrial detention. Court costs were assessed. No fees were waived. He will be 51 years old at his first parole hearing, if he serves the minimum. Derek will be 25. Layla will be 22. They will have grown up entirely without their mother and largely without their father inside the house on Clover Street where she died. The original charge was first-degree murder, premeditated, deliberate, intentional. The plea brought it to second-degree murder. That is the legal reality. First-degree murder in Ohio requires the prosecution to prove prior calculation and design, that the killing was planned in advance. The phone searches are powerful circumstantial evidence, but they document the hour after, not planning before. Without a witness, without a prior explicit threat, without direct evidence of premeditation, the prosecution's ability to sustain a first-degree conviction at trial carried risk. Second-degree murder still requires proof of purposeful killing. The evidence supported that. The plea allowed the family to avoid a trial. It guaranteed a conviction. It guaranteed prison time. Patricia Owens told the judge she understood the agreement. What she could not reconcile, her words, was that Amber had tried to tell people for years. The 2019 charge. The 2021 call from the gas station bathroom, the nurse practitioner at the campus health center. The system had chances, Patricia said, more than one, and every time it let her walk back into that house. That is the legal reality behind the plea, and it is the harder truth sitting underneath the sentence. Amber Christine Webb was 29 years old. She had a son named Derek and a daughter named Layla who needed her every single day. She had a mother who drove to that courthouse and stood at a podium and did not cry because she had already cried everything she had. She had a sister who answered a phone call from a gas station bathroom and told her to come home, and has spent every day since wishing she had driven there herself. She was one semester away from becoming a nurse. She sang in the car with the wrong words and laughed at herself the whole time. She remembered everybody's birthday. Our deepest condolences to Patricia, Rochelle, to little Derek and Layla, and to everyone who loved Amber and is carrying this. If you or someone you know is in a relationship that feels unsafe, please reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233, available 24 hours a day. You do not have to wait until it gets worse. Rest in peace, Amber Christine Webb. Rest easy, Amby. I hope these stories help you see the signs before it's too late and give you the courage to act on what you see. I'll see you in the next episode of The Crime Files. Thank you for watching.